Greetings, dear viewers, and welcome back to another episode of Game Sharks. I'm one of your hosts, Jimmy Good, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Mr. Cory Lang. Cory, how are you today?
Doing well. Good to see you, Jimmy.
Good to see you, too. And we're back. We're talking about video games. Last time we did this, I don't know how long ago it was. Was it back in December? I think we were talking about our games of the year.
Could have been, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's been a few.
Yeah, it's been a few,
yeah.
It's good to be back because we have so much to discuss, a ton of things. Today we're talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows, we're talking about the Switch 2, we're talking about Monster Hunter Wilds, and we're talking about a bunch of other things. But I want to start with Assassin's Creed Shadows because this is a game I've been thinking about and like dreaming of for, I don't know, since about 2006, 2007 when they first debuted like the original Assassin's Creed. Do you remember this?
Of course, it was on the front of Game Informer, and I would stare at it daily because it looked so.
Yes.
It didn't seem realistic that a game could look that good.
Yes.
In a print magazine form.
Was that Altair up front?
Yes, it was.
Like on that whole, the hooded figure. It's so iconic. And when they first showed that setting, I remember thinking, like a lot of people did, it was like, this is really cool, very specific setting because it was like during the Crusades, back kind of like Middle East. But it was like
very whitewashed visually, blue, a lot of blue tones.
Yes, so much. But I remember thinking like, where could they take this? And then eventually it always became like, when are they going to do feudal Japan? They've finally done feudal Japan. Now the real question is, did they do it properly? Well, I don't know. I'm just kidding. Well, because you haven't played it yet.
I have not.
Not yet.
It looks great though. I'm excited to hear about it.
Yeah. So I'm going to be brutally honest, Cory. Okay. I enjoy it.
Okay. That's good.
I like it a lot. I played through all the Assassin's Creed mainline games, and I think I looked into this recently. I think there's like 14 or so or something. I could be wrong about that, 14 or 17, but
so there's probably been like on average one a year since that first game.
Just about. They were doing those yearly releases, and I'm sure you remember this. They took like a year off, and then they came back with Origins, and that's when they kind of retooled the format to make it like this kind of like RPG-ish, and then they kind of like there was obviously maybe some like FromSoft inspiration about like a third-person action game and how that would work and all those things. And then so it was Origins, and then Odyssey, and then Valhalla, which were like the three like giant RPG games. And I remember thinking like, oh, I don't know if this is like the way to go with Assassin's Creed.
Right.
Just because I might be old-fashioned.
Yep.
But when I'm in Assassin's Creed and I jump from a building onto a person and do the assassination, I think that should take care of them. But in these RPGs, it would take like a health chunk. And I was like, come on, man. I dropped out on you. I like hit your neck. And you're like, ow, that hurt a little bit. And they like kind of shake me off. I was like, no, I don't like that. So then they got into Mirage, which I actually liked a lot. And that was kind of like supposed to be DLC for Valhalla, but then they turned it into a full game.
Back to the roots of the original concept of Assassin's Creed.
Yes.
Tighter, a little bit shorter.
Yes. And in the city of Baghdad, which is really interesting, like way back.
It was a spin-off character of Valhalla.
Yes. Basim, I believe it was. And I actually liked that game. I think we talked about it here, maybe?
Yeah, I still haven't played it. It's on my list.
It's a good game. It is a good game. But now they're kind of like trying to find this happy middle ground where they have the RPG elements, but it's still kind of a little bit more back to basics or a little more trimmed down insofar as like the loot game.
Right.
Like with Valhalla and those other games, you were getting so much loot all the time. Like so many weapons and armor pieces and all this. It was like, think of like the fun like management you have in like Resident Evil in your suitcase. But like if your suitcase was overstuffed and then there was like you had to get another suitcase and another suitcase and you're like, okay, this is like...
You need the Excel case.
I'll say exactly, the Excel spreadsheet case. And thankfully, we don't have that here.
Okay.
But there still is a big emphasis on the RPG mechanics.
Okay.
And that is more so like the zones are like, oh, you're in the level 18 zone. If you go over here, it's the level 23 zone.
Right.
You can go try to do that, but it's going to be really hard.
Right.
And I have this problem, Cory, where like, and again, this is probably something I was taught from the FromSoft games, and I should not learn this because this is different because they're not level gated in the same way.
Right.
It's like if I come up against somebody difficult who's like 5 levels higher than me, I'm like, I can beat them if I keep fighting them long enough.
Yeah.
Versus being smarter and being like, I'll do side quests for a while and then come back and then destroy them in like one fight. So that's something that is in this game, but I'm kind of getting ahead of myself.
But the former is more exciting.
Yes. Oh, very much so.
Going up against a tougher opponent, and that's such a Dark Souls thing.
It's such a Dark Souls thing.
I can do this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There's a strategy to this. I can come back, and that would be the easier route.
Yep.
But the satisfaction of the accomplishment of going up against a stronger foe. So that's a big part of territories in this game?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, kind of like the regions and everything. And if they're like, I think it's over 5 levels or 5 levels or higher, it'll just have like a skull next to their name. Like you shouldn't be fighting them. So like, it's almost kind of comical because like you're slashing them with a katana for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And they'll hit you once and you're dead. And you're like, how did that like?
Right. So they're identifying to the player that you're in a tougher zone.
Yes.
Unlike Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, you learn that for yourself by
Exactly.
accidentally strolling into a.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, which I almost kind of like the other version where I don't know, and then I'm like, it almost is like my lizard brain is like, I'll come back, this too scary.
Yeah.
Versus this game where I'm like, I could probably find a way to cheese this.
Yeah,
so, you know?
yeah.
And I have.
Fun, though. That's fun.
Yeah, it is kind of fun, but they do have that kind of issue that I remember having in Odyssey where you get to a certain point in the game and it's like, well, if you want to go to the next portion, you have to get to a certain level. Odyssey demanded you get to that level. This game hasn't yet, but it feels like they're saying like, yeah, you should probably level up for a while. And that gets a little tedious just because it's like, well, I want to progress, but it's like, no. And the way they structure missions is kind of crazy. They have this big like black and white scroll that like when you get to new areas, it'll open up like new little rings of people.
Oh.
And then you can like take missions and like track it from there. But then they'll also open up different rings of like targets, like little groups of like little syndicates that you have to destroy.
Okay.
And you can like hover over the level, like this one's level 23, this one's level 30, this one's level 15.
Yeah.
It's like, which one do you want to go for? You'll have to come back to these guys later.
Okay.
So, and man, sometimes I look at that and it's like they found a way to like kind of condense some of that information and the stuff on the mini map, or I should say not the mini map, but like the actual map to not have 1,000 things on there,
Right.
even though there's still a lot, but it's still kind of in there. It's just like tucked away in a different way. So that way you're not immediately overwhelmed.
Sure.
You know?
Okay.
And now it's like when you climb to the top of a tower or a tree or whatever to do the kind of like lookout, the very Ubisoft thing, the Assassin's Creed thing. And they'll have you go up there, and it's so funny because like in the other games, you do that, and they would kind of like all these things would pop up on your map. Now it's like you sit there and you hold like left trigger so you can like look around, and then it'll be like, all right, look at this, and then like look over, it's like a question mark, it's like undiscovered location, and I'm like, yeah, I know. So my person's like, there's something over there.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but
That's funny.
Versus where like I think again we shouldn't always compare to Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild,
Right.
but like they just would have something colorful in that area, and you're like.
Right.
What's that over there?
Right.
You know, and then you'd want to go see it.
Exactly. Well, Tears of the Kingdom is even cooler because they literally shoot you up
It's
into
so
the.
cool.
They shoot you up into the sky.
So cool.
Yeah,
I love it so much.
It's great.
So yeah, it's hard, and we can't compare them 1-to-1, but like I love third-person open-world games, so this type of design is something that's interesting to me. And that whole like left trigger thing. It's interesting. I say left trigger because I'm playing on Xbox Series X, but when you go into an area and to complete like or to find your objectives, it won't show anything in front of you, but you hold down left trigger and then it'll show like, oh, it's like a little gold sphere, and that means there's loot over there.
Oh, cool.
Or a little white sphere, this is an objective. Or a blue one, that's like a quest objective. So those are all things to keep in mind when you're like running around to like the shrines that you have to go to, because the way to level up in this game is that you play it, you fight enemies, you do quests and stuff, you get levels, and you get mastery points. And they have like 6 different like things for like if you're playing as either the Shinobi Naoe or the Samurai Yasuke. They have like their different like, oh, here's the Katana tree, here's like the Samurai tree, or here's the Shinobi tree, here's like the Stealth tree. But you only get access to the first level until you get a certain number of knowledge rank. So you have to go and do these other things on the side to increase that thing, so then it'll unlock the second tier of all of those things.
Okay.
So sometimes you have to kind of grind out and like go, and I think it's very purposeful. It's like the game is like, we want you to go and experience like you have to go pray at the shrines or do these other kind of little side quest things that you wouldn't normally do to learn more about the world and like what they're trying to go for in feudal Japan. So again, I understand that to a certain extent, and I can appreciate it, but sometimes I'm like, I just want to like level up I'm just getting back to this thing, Corey, where I want my assassination ability, I want it to be as strong as possible, because when I stab someone in the back, I want it to kill them. That's as basic as I want it to be, and that's not there right at the jump. So it's a little tedious.
It seems to me the consensus, and you could disagree with this, that I've heard among many people that are playing this game is they should have just stuck with Naoe and ditched the samurai character to simplify the gameplay. And Naoe is more of a traditional type of Assassin's Creed character,
Yes.
or maybe just give you a character creator and just stick with that. Do you agree with that, or do you like the other samurai character?
Yeah, I can respect the combat that Yasuke brings to the table. The samurai stuff. The thing is, and I don't, there's no way to ever confirm this. I think that Ghost of Tsushima did this kind of amazing marriage where that game is more about you being a samurai, but you can be stealthy if you want a little bit.
But you're more grounded physically in that game.
Very much so. But he was kind of the best of both worlds, where this was like, okay, we're going to split it. I don't think they should have. I think, and that's one of the reasons I think the dev time took longer, because having the ability to play as Yasuke, and he's so much easier in combat to play.
Yeah, he's like a tank.
He is, but then like trying to climb or do anything else with him is like not impossible, but almost nearly for certain things.
Okay.
And so it does feel weird to play an Assassin's Creed game where you're like, I'm kicking down the front door and being like,
right.
They've done this before though. So like in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, they had the Evie and Jacob Fry. Yeah.
Oh no, that was not the Brotherhood.
Yeah, no, this is the one in Britain, like turned the century.
That's right. That's right.
And I remember thinking like, okay, there was like he was more of a brawler and she was more of the stealth, which is like, okay, that was kind of like you pick your poison. But they both were like they could climb things. Where Naoe has this amazing grapple hook up, so that at any time if there's like something above her, you can hit left bumper. She can throw up a grapple hook and then just climb up it.
Cool.
And it's really convenient.
Love a grapple hook.
Oh my gosh, it's maybe not Batman, or grapnel boost or whatever, but so that feels great. And to approach missions with her is the Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah.
If you are looking for like to get into Assassin's Creed, but you don't want to like sneak around and like stab people and stuff, if that's not what you're looking for, then obviously Yasuke is that option. And they will give you the chance to play as both.
You know what I love about that is this is going to be a pleasant surprise for Sekiro players that loved that style of gameplay but really just couldn't get past the harsh, brutal, sometimes unfair difficulty of that game.
Yeah.
I think Sekiro's a masterpiece, but it is without a doubt too hard.
Yeah.
It's just too hard.
It's too hard.
But the mechanics of sneaking, ninja, grapple hook, that style of gameplay really opens up some experimental choices.
Yeah.
It sounds like you could do that in this game
totally.
without the brutal From Software difficulty.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. And sometimes I miss having the ability to fight a bunch of people with Naoe like I can with Yasuke. Like you still can, but she obviously she doesn't have a ton of armor and stuff, so she gets hit a few times, and even if you're at the same level, it's still going to take a lot from you. Whereas he can take a ton, and he has more health or healing items. And the thing is that like as the progression goes on, he gets more like weapons and like things to do with them. He doesn't necessarily get more interesting, unique abilities. Whereas she gets things where it's like, okay, now you get a little reed you can use in the water. So if it's like the spring or summertime, you could potentially get in like a pond and like stay underwater and like hide in the water like while you're trying to assassinate a target.
Interesting.
So stuff like that.
Cool.
Clearly she's the focus, like as far as that goes. Even though there's a lot of times where the game's like, you gotta play as Yasuke now. And it's like, Assassin's Creed has always had this issue of being like, here's the game you want, and then they like pull you back into a different game. Like remember when they do like the future, the present day stuff? They don't really have that I've seen a ton of yet. Which I'm grateful for. But it still seems like there's that little like, all right, here's all the stuff you really want, and then here's like you gotta do this still.
That's too bad.
Even though he's a cool character.
He's cool,
He's cool, and
it's
I
not
like
a bad thing.
Yeah, he's fun to play as. And those moments, I do sometimes like switch between them. Like on big missions, they'll be like, play as Naoe or play as Yasuke. You pick one, and then halfway through they'll be like, do you want to switch to the other? And sometimes I wish I would have, because I don't like. There was this one boss fight where it was like I was in a room with a guy. It was a small little arena, and then he called in ads, and he was a bunch of levels higher than me because I tried to be cool, right? And it took me a long time to beat him. Had I played as Yasuke, probably would have beat him in one go. Because it's just the mechanics are different.
Sure.
Like, or just that he's easier and more forgiving.
Right.
But yeah, it's such an interesting design choice. And again, I still think it's the fear almost of the Ghost of Tsushima. Like, what if we would have made her or our character that has both? Would that have been too powerful? Maybe, but Assassin's Creed becomes a power fantasy. Like if you play, especially AC3, if you play as Connor, like that guy becomes like an unstoppable killing machine. But he's still a sneaky assassin. Like that's the whole point. Like, and like to me, that's why I play it. But again, I love to sneak around and do all this stuff. And they have a bunch of other tools you do gain access to eventually, but again, you have to do the whole knowledge rank thing. So like I don't have them yet. So I'm like, I got to grind out those knowledge rank things to increase my potential to get to these other things.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy it a lot, and it's still fun to do. And it's a big game. It's a big game.
Okay.
The weird thing that I've noticed in this game more than any other is that I'm a very like point A to point B in these types of games. Like I'm like, oh, I got to go there. I'm gonna go shortest distance. I've spent so much time, Corey, in brambles and shrubs and trees. I don't know why. And and the game, unless I'm misunderstanding this, in the past games, I think it was with Mirage and maybe even back to Origins, you could like put a marker on the map and then you'd be on your steed or your mount or whatever, and you could follow the trail, but then like you could do like an auto drive. They don't have that here, unless I'm crazy. Because I've been trying to figure that out. Maybe it's in there, maybe I just don't understand it. Because there's a few times where it's like, all right, you're gonna have to like go around the mountain, or you can like kind of cut through it, kind of. And I'm like, well, I'll cut over and through it, because the other way I'm just like,
I did hear they added in an update, I think came out yesterday, a auto drive horse ability.
That's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
Oh, is that
exactly
what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I think they patched that in.
Finally.
I think they patched that in.
Thanks, Ubisoft, for listening.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I don't know the last time you played it, but I heard there was a patch that hit, I think, yesterday.
Okay, good. Thank goodness. I haven't for like a couple of days. Yeah, because that's one thing that's been a little annoying, because I've just spent so much time just running through brambles.
Right.
I'm not kidding, like literal brambles, and my character's like fighting through them, and I'm like, this is kind of weird.
This is weird to force you to do, the player to do that.
Yeah, well, maybe it's not even forced, it's more just
because you can't fast travel yet, because you haven't discovered those.
You can unlock different areas, so it's interesting. You can unlock those like eagle points to like fast travel to, but you can also purchase like little hideouts to fast travel to as well. And when you're first going to a place, they're like, you have to go a certain like way, and they want you to like follow the road and do all this stuff. Or I'm just gonna beeline it literally right through everything.
Right.
It's just more on me, maybe. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
But sometimes when I'm hunting down like the special like side mission syndicate stuff, like I shouldn't say you have to do that, but sometimes it's just easier to do it that way versus like follow the circuitous road for 20 more minutes.
Right.
I'm exaggerating.
But still, I know. Yeah. I feel your pain.
Yeah, well, it's such a big open world, and again, it doesn't feel maybe as lived in as, again, like a Tears of the Kingdom or like an even Red Dead Redemption 2. And that's what I think, like, I wish more game developers would kind of learn from Rockstar in that way, or even Nintendo, where it's like, all right, you might have a giant open world, and that's great, but having it like procedurally generate in things that happen is really special, because like if that's not it, then you're just like running through like beautiful environments that have nothing in them. You know, it feels a little hollow.
Sure.
Even though it's still like a beautiful world. And they have like seasons that change.
That's cool.
Which is really interesting.
That's cool.
It hasn't had a huge impact on the gameplay for me yet, except for when it's winter, which, by the way, winter high, she's in the control room. But when winter comes up, it will be like, the snow is everywhere, but remember talking about like where you look for those objectives?
Yes.
If you're looking for the white objectives,
there's
snow.
I see. Yeah.
And I have to get those, Corey, to increase my knowledge rank so I can get more. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It drives me a little nuts.
Sounds like it could be a problem.
A little bit of a problem. I was like, guys, maybe we need a different color. Maybe I could change that in the settings.
Sure.
I can make it like
color coordinated or something.
I'd rather have it be like a thing where it's like audio, where you're like looking around it. It's like it makes like a. But
pulls you in.
Yeah. But either way, I've been enjoying the game. I think I'm like 24 hours into it.
Oh, okay. That's a respectable amount of time.
And again, a lot of it's like having to do the side quest stuff in order to become more powerful to increase like the actual like regular quests.
Sure.
You know, because the story, it's revenge.
Yeah.
Well, at least for Naue. I mean, like the Yasuke's got a kind of a different thing, but Naue's like there's this big shadowy organization who like killed her father and left her for dead. Should have finished the job. Classic mistake that the bad guys make. And now it's like go find all these people one by one.
Yeah.
You know, and then kill them.
Gotcha.
I'll say this was interesting, and I don't know if I could choose this, but like they'll be, sometimes they'll be like, oh, should you kill this person with Naue or should you spare them with Yasuke?
Oh, interesting.
And one of the times I was like, kill with Naue, and then like they still spared the person, and I was like, hey, no.
What happened?
It's like, no, that's my kill. It's like, you killed my dad.
Yeah.
So I like her as a character too. She's pretty fun, and I do like some of the characters. Again, it's so hard for me not to compare it to Ghost of Tsushima, and Ghost of Yotai is coming up soon too.
Yep.
So I don't know. If you like Assassin's Creed, I'd say pick it up. If you like feudal Japan, I think you'd still get a kick out of it. And of course, if you like the marriage of those two,
right,
I think you'll enjoy it. Right now, it's not like the greatest Assassin's Creed. It's not my favorite Assassin's Creed. I wish it were.
Yeah,
I really do.
Right.
But
still good though.
It's still good.
Yeah.
It's just those RPG elements, man. Sometimes I'm stabbing and slashing a guy for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, self-imposed.
Yeah. No, I can't wait to play it, honestly. It looks gorgeous, too. By the way, I was watching some high-res, some of the seasonal visuals on YouTube with the snow, and now while walking, you see the footsteps.
Yeah, that's great.
The snow effects look really nice.
Oh, for sure.
Leaves blowing in the wind and that whole classic Japan look. Yeah, I can't wait to play it. Looks cool.
Yeah, which, before we move on, favorite Assassin's Creed that you can think of off the top of your head, if you have one? Because for me, it's probably Black Flag, maybe.
Black Flag's really good. I have a good memory because that was a launch title for PS4.
Oh,
so we're talking like 2013. So I love Black Flag, and it introduced all the naval ship combat.
That was a cross-gen, too, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yes,
it was.
Yeah.
I would probably also go with Black Flag. I also really like 2.
I was like 2
it takes place in Venice.
2 is so cool.
2 is great.
So
just
cool.
running around Venice, rooftop to rooftop, jumping over canals and stuff.
How much longer until we get full remakes?
Right. I'm sure they'd put out like remastered versions.
Yeah, but I mean like a full, like from the ground up.
Yeah.
Ezio is back.
That would
it's
be
like
cool.
the full trilogy.
That would be cool.
Oh,
that would be
Brotherhood
cool.
and,
Like an Unreal 5 or something.
Dude,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'd play it.
Oh yeah, for
I'd
sure.
play it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Oh, and Ezio's story's so good too. Again,
great.
revenge.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed is built on like revenge. Like you just do that. It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they don't really have the Templars here.
Okay.
Kind of, not really at all. That's not really the focus
Interesting.
of this game, but
Okay.
it's still kind of, I mean, in essence, it's just like bad guys.
Yeah.
And I'm sure eventually they'll get back to like, oh, it's Apple of Eden and so on and so forth.
That whole thing.
But yeah, I enjoy it. I recommend it. And it is, I think, probably worth the price.
Cool.
Even if it isn't everything I desire it to be. It doesn't have
Sure.
the same kind of edge or the same kind of I don't even know what you'd put it as. It's kind of like this genuine desire to explore the open world that I get in some of these other types of games.
Got it.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. And performance-wise, does pretty well. I've had a few hitches here and there, but for the most part, pretty good, which is nice because Assassin's Creed has had some issues in the past.
Sure.
And it's good to see that they came out swinging with this one. And unlike all the other ones, this one did not release in November. It was supposed to release in November. It got pushed back a lot.
Right.
And then came out of March of 2025, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So they let it cook, which, you know what? I always say let it cook if you can. Because these games
always a good thing.
Yeah, these games are big, and Ubisoft needs a win. So I don't know how well it's sold, but
not sure.
Yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah. I mean, there's like that classic quote. I'm sure we've quoted on this. A bad game is forever a delayed game. Nobody's gonna remember it.
Yeah.
That's not the thing they're gonna take home with. This was delayed 3 months. It's
yeah, totally.
You rush it out. Case in point, Cyberpunk 2077. What a fiasco that was. And now that game's great, but you know. Cool. Well, that sounds awesome. I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear your thoughts on it and to hear which character you prefer. But like I said, both are fun. But yeah, I keep thinking back to Ghost of Tsushima. That was my favorite game of the last gen. So besides Monster Hunter World, which we'll talk about Monster Hunter later. Anyway, Cory, I want to talk about Switch 2 now because Nintendo has finally released information on this behemoth. I say that because I just assume that it will sell like hotcakes.
Yeah.
Like no matter what, it's just like almost like gonna put it at any price and people will be like, I'm buying it day one.
Yeah.
So Cory, tell me about Switch 2. You've got notes. You're so ready for this. This is incredible.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was probably the biggest, arguably, gaming announcement / direct / reveal in probably 5 years since they announced the Series X and the PlayStation 5, which came out in 2020.
Yeah.
So the Switch 2 is out there. Yeah, I do have notes because there's a lot to unpack. I'll just try to get through these. The crazy thing about this is it's turned like political, strangely.
Really?
And it's kind of an ongoing story because of the tariffs. And so they had the Direct, was that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
It was a couple weeks ago.
Was it last week?
Was it last week?
I don't even know.
Okay. It was either last week.
I think it was last week.
Within the last week.
Yeah.
And pre-orders were supposed to go up on April 9th. And then they like quickly backpedaled that. Like literally the next day, they're like, "Oh, psych! No, we're not. We're gonna push that out because of the tariffs and everything."
I see.
I think they were just trying to figure out what was going on. Today, I heard the pre-orders go up May 9th now, so it sounds like they pushed it out a month.
Wow. Okay.
So pre-orders start May 9th. Comes out June 5th. Switch 2.
That's crazy.
So base model's $449, and the Mario Kart bundle, we'll get to Mario Kart in a little bit, it's $500.
Yeah.
Are you, before we get to anything else, are you in the pre-order camp? Are you going to wait?
Oh, I usually wait on these types of things.
Yeah.
And it's not, no offense, Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I've ever been day and date on most consoles.
Okay.
Just in general.
Sure.
How about you?
Typically, I'm day one. Typically, I pre-order as soon as I can. I was talking to Winter about this before the show, and we'll get into all the details on Switch 2, obviously. But yeah, just due to price and timing, I think I might wait. I think I might wait. We'll see, though. Maybe May 9th will roll around, and it'll get the best of me, and I'll put my credit card on the desk and pull the trigger. But yeah, so it's coming out June 5th. Magnetic Joy-Cons. So no more janky click locking in place. This is a strong magnet, and then there's a release button. So instead of sliding in and out, they pop
in
from the side.
Yeah.
So I was watching some like influencer videos that attended the Nintendo event, and it's the word of mouth is like the magnets are really great, and it seems sturdier.
Oh, good.
You know, the original Switch seems a little janky, like you can kind of bend the joint.
Chintzy.
A little chintzy, feels more of like a toy.
Yeah.
Word on the street is this feels more like a premium device, which is great to hear.
Yeah.
You know, because that Switch feels okay in your hand, but it doesn't feel like amazing.
Sure.
It feels like you're holding a toy.
Sure.
You know?
Especially since the years since with the whole like Steam Deck and other things that have come out, they really need to come out swinging and be like, hey, we're just as legit, if not more so, than our competitors here.
Exactly. So, you know, sticking with the Joy-Cons, they now work as a mouse. So you can flip them and use it. So like they showed off a big Civ 7 demonstration.
Cool.
So you can do an RTS thing. It's actually brilliant, really, that they were able to bake this in. The coolest demo that I've seen so far using the Joy-Con as a mouse were Metroid Prime 4.
I see, yeah.
So they were using it as FPS controls.
Yeah.
My question, I think conceptually it sounds really cool, but how is that gonna like work on a couch, like on your leg?
On your leg, yeah.
Like, do you need like a dictionary near you with a hard surface?
They'll sell something.
Yeah, I could see if you have like your computer desk and you have like a monitor with your dock.
Yeah.
And then you just dock your Switch to a monitor at your desk. Well, then you're ready to rock and roll with a flat surface like a mouse. Then you're just turning your Switch 2 into like a PC.
I think Switch 3 will just be a PC.
It could be.
It just has a sticker that says Nintendo on it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, there it is.
Perfect. Well, I mean, let's face it, PS5 and Xbox, they're just a PC.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
So the Joy-Cons look really cool. They work as a mouse. I think that's really neat.
Yeah.
I think it's a shame they didn't bundle it with a Mario Paint because Nintendo, what are you doing?
Perfect.
It's perfect.
Come on. Or a Mario Maker.
Yeah, a Mario Maker, exactly.
Yeah.
So new Joy-Cons, they're magnetic. They work as a mouse. You just flip them on its side. I think that's a really cool. You got to give props to Nintendo. They always find a quirky way to experiment with their products. So it sounds like this is that new thing.
That's crazy to me. I wonder who came up with that idea, and they were like, oh, we should make it like a mouse. And they're like, what do you mean like a mouse? I'm like, yeah, just like a computer mouse. And it's like, oh.
Just put the sensor in there.
This is just Nintendo dipping their toe in the water to start putting these games on Steam.
That's right.
Just wait for it. When Breath of the Wild comes on Steam, I'll be like, I called it.
Yeah. Larger screen, when dock, sports 4K up to 120. Do you think Nintendo can actually pull that off?
I don't know if any maybe one of the first party titles could do it. None of the third parties.
So the big one they demoed running at 4K 120 was Metroid Prime, and it looked gorgeous.
Yeah, the slowest first-person shooter they could possibly think
of.
Perfect.
Exactly.
That's great. It's like Samus, she stops moving. It's like, look at the frames though. I'm just kidding, Samus, you're all right.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that they can say that, and they finally have a system that supports 4K and up to 120 frames. So we'll see.
Yeah, but not an OLED.
Not an OLED. I mean, knowing Nintendo, that'll come later.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Switch 2 too.
Right. But it's a 1080 display and handheld, so that's jumping from 720 to 1080. And
that's great.
4K while docked. So
yeah. That's good. I'm curious to see how the older games run on the newer, like Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
And some of those games that had issues, right?
We'll get to that, Jimmy.
We'll get to that. Or go,
you're jumping the gun.
I'm jumping the gun.
It's the beard now. It makes you.
It makes me edgy.
You're the jumping gun guy now.
Yeah, I shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I love jumping the gun. So it launched with Mario Kart World.
Yes.
It's $80.
When I first heard the title of this, I was like, nah.
Yeah.
That's not real. I was like, Mario Kart World, come on now. And then I was like, no. And they're like, it's $80. I'm like, this is like such a Nintendo flex of a premium product where they're like, you're going to buy it. Like, it's like, what are you going to do? You have to buy it. And that's their big launch title, right? Like, the main launch title, as it were.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. They almost shouldn't have even announced that because by far the biggest headline that everybody's using now is that Mario Kart is $80.
Yep.
Not that the Switch 2 looks great, not that it's coming in June, it's 4K. It's nope, Mario Kart's $80. Who can afford it? Look, okay. So it's an open world game. It looks amazing. So, so you have your traditional circuit-based racing. It's got online multiplayer, but it's also doing the Forza thing where you can, there's an open world side kind of, whatever you want to call it. I forget what they call it. Open race, maybe?
Okay.
So it's just a side mode. So you just drive around the world. You can take photos. You can explore. I'm assuming they'll have like hidden collectibles.
Sure.
So the picture I'm painting is it's a big Mario Kart game.
Yeah.
It looks really cool. But like, okay, but you're going to sell a digital copy for $80? Like, guys, what are you doing?
Is this setting the precedent that a lot of people thought that Grand Theft Auto 6 is about to set?
That's what I was just going to say.
Which Grand Theft Auto 6, I think a lot of people will be like, oh, I get it, why it's worth $80.
Oh, I bet Rockstar's like, whoo!
Yeah, exactly. Like, yes, thank you, Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And they will not be running 120 frames per second on Switch 2. I can almost guarantee you that. If Grand Theft Auto 6 is on that Switch 2, let's hope we can lock in at 30.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Hope for that.
Yeah, well, and there's some ports coming too that I'd be curious to get your take on. But yeah, I don't know if they're doing this to get people to buy the bundle.
Yeah.
Because if you buy the bundle, it's $500, so you're only paying $50 for Mario Kart World. And I think the adoption rate is going to be over 90% for Mario Kart World on this.
Almost has to be.
You know what I mean? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is like one of the best-selling video games across any platforms. It's up there with Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, and they know it.
And they know it, right?
Yeah.
So I think the adoption rate is going to be really high.
Yeah.
I think it's a big bummer they're selling a digital copy on the storefront for $80.
Yeah.
I don't want to make this the whole headline of our conversation,
No,
but
but still, it's something.
it's something, But I think the game looks great. I'm not like the biggest Mario Kart fan.
Yeah.
I like Mario Kart.
Me too.
But it's not going to grab me the way that like a Mario Odyssey 2 or like a new Zelda would.
Yeah.
All
I know is it took like 9 Mario Karts to do what Diddy Kong Racing did back in like 96 or something. Come on, like the little open world area.
Open world
and I'm sure
area.
other racing games have done open world before too, but I think it's a great idea and concept.
Right.
But that is like, it is an interesting thing, and I get why people are fixating on it because now it's like, are we setting a new precedent for like the gaming industry?
Right.
Not just Nintendo. And the thing is, Nintendo is notorious for never dropping the price on their first parties.
They will not.
They'll just like,
Mario Day, they'll have a sale for like $10 off or something.
Exactly, yeah. It's like Breath of the Wild's probably still $70 or whatever it is.
Tears of the Kingdom, I think, is their only $70 game so far.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Breath of the Wild was 60. But,
60,
but,
okay,
but whatever.
Full price.
Yeah, I'm splitting hairs.
It's crazy though, and I get it. You're right. I think it's like one of those things that you're going to get people who are kind of like, ooh, I don't want to buy that by itself, but I'm buying the Switch anyways.
Yeah. And there's reports that it's by far their most expensive game they've ever developed. I'm sure they've dumped hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
The money's there.
If you pull it up on YouTube and click like the 4K option and blow it up, like the game looks absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
It supports ray tracing and it's 4K.
Nice.
And high, it's a premium Nintendo product. It looks amazing, but again, $80.
That's a lot.
Families are going to look at that, especially with what's happening in our economy. And
you're buying a lot of extra Pro controllers, which those are all $80
and
now.
the Joy-Cons are $100 now. Everything is.
The Joy-Cons are $100.
Dude, they're janky little streaming cameras, like $50. It's like, who's gonna buy that?
That's
anyways. We'll move on. Mario Kart looks great. It's unfortunate, but I think you're right. I think with the reports of Grand Theft Auto coming out at $100, it's just gonna get worse.
I was gonna say, Rockstar's like, wait, if we could do 80, like, maybe we will just,
yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah. There is some good news. I think by far, in my opinion, the best thing that they showed in that whole direct was Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Yes.
Which looks absolutely incredible. And it's $69.99. It's fine.
Yep.
It's, I got no hard feelings about that.
Yeah.
It looks, they haven't announced it, but I'm pretty certain it's from the Mario Odyssey developer.
Okay,
There's been rumors that they dumped the Odyssey sequel and started doing this instead.
Good.
And I'm glad they did.
Good, yeah.
Because it's got destructible environments.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like a cross between like Hulk Ultimate Destruction or whatever that game was called. Red Faction and...
Corey,
yeah.
You're just saying words that I like right now. I haven't heard a Hulk Ultimate Destruction for a long time, and I'm like,
Right.
Oh, feels good.
Yeah,
Yes.
So it's a 3D platformer with destructible environments. Like Donkey Kong can like dig. I don't know if you watched the trailer.
Yeah.
He can dig into the earth.
Terrifying.
It looks amazing.
So cool.
It looks rad.
Yeah.
It looks rad. It looks really cool. I'm by far more excited for that than probably anything they showed.
Yeah. When I first saw that, I was getting flashbacks to Donkey Kong 64, which I really loved. And this is not open world, but it has kind of open world environments.
Yeah, there was a shot of him like crawling up like a cliff with like volcanoes in the background. It looked like a vast open area.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting a big game, but you're right. I don't know if it's gonna be like open zone like Odyssey, but like larger zones.
Yeah.
You know, time will tell. I guess we'll see.
I want to see. I'm gonna bring back the Kongs, bring back the coconut gun.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks
Funky
a little.
Kong,
he looks a little weird to me. I won't lie to you. His design, he looks a little crazed.
Yeah,
which is fine.
I don't know if that's because of the movie. He looks like the movie design.
He does as well. Okay, no offense to him, but as long as we don't get
Seth Rogen, I'm just gonna say it.
He's in there. He's making the noises as you dig through there, and you're like, stop, please.
From
stop.
my understanding, it is not Seth Rogen. So
not yet.
Yeah.
But if it were, it'd be an $80 game. Which makes sense.
I will say his new show on Apple, just a side note, is really good. The
Is it really
Studio.
good? Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it.
I recommend it.
Okay, but Bonanza.
Bonanza looks great.
Bonanza. Is it single? It's only single player.
I don't know. It kind of, it just looks like your classic 3D single player platformer with destructible environments.
So they try to trick you with like a silhouette where he's got a hat that looks like Diddy Kong.
Could be.
And it was, but I meant like it like looked like they jacked up Diddy Kong, but I was like, no, he's just wearing a hat. And I was like, oh, if Diddy Kong comes on the scene and he's like, I will Bonanza as well.
Yeah.
No, I think it's great, and I think it's smart to not go back to just doing like launch with Mario.
I agree.
That they apparently, I looked into this. The last time they launched a console with a Mario game, N64.
Yeah.
That's the last time they did it.
That's right.
A lot of people think that like they launch every time. It's like,
That's right.
No.
Yeah, because Odyssey was a launch window game, but it came later.
I love the term launch window.
Yeah. Well, and that's Bonanza because it comes out in July, so
Sure.
it comes out a month after.
Donkey Kong lives, I think, in the summer.
Yeah.
You know, drop it in the
Totally.
doldrums and be like, yep, make all the money.
Exactly. To me, this says that this game is finished or it will be finished. They just want to let Mario Kart breathe for a month.
Yeah.
They want people to really buy Mario
So
Kart.
Mario Kart's done and polished probably, and like I'm sure this one they're like, all right, with a few extra months, shine it up. But yeah, that one to me, I was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Now
looks
we're talking.
cool.
Now we're talking.
We already talked about Metroid 4. I think it looks really cool. It's got a first-person mode, runs 4K. Here's some juicy stuff that I want to see what you think about.
Get it.
So Switch 2 editions. These are going to be $10 upgrades, or back to the $80 if you don't already own the game on Switch 1. And this is Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, that's what they're doing.
4K, 60 frames per second. And they added lore.
Okay.
They added story stuff, which is really crazy.
That is crazy.
So is that enough to... So 4K 60 frames, is that enough to bring you back into either of those games, or are you just... You're done.
And this is $10 additional because I own it.
$10.
And then but I also have to buy the new console. So
Exactly.
I remember they did something like this with Ghost of Tsushima. They did like a $10 upgrade to PS5 or something.
This is not a new thing.
Yeah, so this is something that's been going on for a while. For me personally, I don't buy into this stuff. I think like optimize it as much as you can on the system you're on.
Right.
I know there are people out there who will want to do this, and it'll just be like, oh, for them, it's only $10 for them.
Right.
In my head, I'm like, oh, that's only $460.
Exactly.
I'm like,
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know, and not that when I play Tears of the Kingdom, I don't want it to be that, but I'm just used to it.
Yeah.
Like the frames and stuff. So
exactly.
For me, probably no. But if
Right.
I was a day one and I didn't have anything else to play on there besides Mario Kart World, then maybe I would.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, for me, I would do it for tiers because I never finished it. I got like halfway through it, so this is perfect for me.
Sure, yeah.
I'll get the new Switch. I'll pay $10, 4K, 60 frames.
Yeah.
Those games desperately need that boost in performance.
Sure.
You know, they're amazing games, but let's face it, they're not like technical showpieces.
Yeah,
They're beautiful.
They are.
The kind of painted world design, but they did announce like a couple others. There's like a Kirby game, Mario Party. They're beefing up. It's like, who wants to pay $80 for Mario Party?
Yeah.
Who cares about performance with Mario Party?
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Yeah, too much.
Like, do you need 4K Mario Party? I mean,
unless you're trying to, you really want to beat your friends and not be friends with them
you
anymore.
get like extra boost in frame rate.
Exactly. You're like, if I would have had more frames, I would have totally won a minigame. You're like,
That's true. I didn't consider that. If they have like Wario World style, like quick fire mini game stuff, that extra frame rate might be nice.
Yeah.
The Kirby game, I didn't write that down. I don't know what Kirby game that is. It was
Forgotten Land?
Is that what it is?
Something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. Something like that. Yeah.
So they're doing So anyways, these are called Switch 2 editions. The packaging's different. The carts are different. They're $80.
Yeah.
Unless you own them, then it's 10.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Yikes.
And I get it. It's like the Nintendo premium price.
Yep.
But I don't know.
I don't know. They have not announced a price for Metroid yet. Just Donkey Kong Bonanza is 70 and Mario Kart is 80. So
I guess 70.
I would hope, or 60.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna have a really hard time not only selling Metroid, because it's just not one of their big franchises. I love Metroid, but let's face it, it's not. It's a C-tier franchise.
Sure, yeah.
That's not fair. We'll go B.
Yeah.
But that game better not be $80.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, Samus doesn't draw them in the same way.
No.
Not her fault. Samus
And there
is
was,
great.
and there, there was no like there was no Smash.
Yeah.
You know, if they would announce this was Smash for $80, I could see it.
I might even be at that. My Switch is a Smash Switch.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the version I bought.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and I thought after Ultimate, they'd let that poor Sakurai rest.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think they were like, nope, it's time to get back to it, buddy.
Well, one of the last games they showed off was Kirby Air Riders, directed by Sakurai.
Dude, which I love how much that man loves Kirby.
He loves
like that's
Kirby,
his baby,
yeah.
right? And he's like, I feel bad because like they're gonna announce that, but like it's already eaten up by Mario Kart as like a racing franchise,
Right,
you know, and it's just like,
exactly.
well, here's like the tiny little Kirby racing
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah. And I'm assuming that's next year, but
Probably. I think they have to
yeah.
start kind of like being like, okay, well, here's like our first chunk, and then like, what's our next kind of wave?
Well, yeah, because next year's got to be big too.
Yes.
You know,
it has to be.
I bet Smash Brothers will be next year, maybe Mario, but.
And at this point, is it just it's every single character from Ultimate, but then more?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that I like. This is when Master Chief shows up.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Or Kratos or something weird.
Right.
Yeah.
Or some Monster Hunter characters or something. Yeah.
Please. Yeah. Well, yeah. Didn't they have the Monster Hunter?
They probably did.
Yeah. I want to play as Rathalos, just because a big dragon.
Yeah. There you go.
But yeah, that's crazy. $80.
Yeah.
$80. It's steep.
GameCube games coming to Nintendo Online.
Yes.
Finally.
That's cool.
Yep.
That's cool.
The 3 games they're launching with is a little strange. Nothing against Soul Calibur. I think Soul Calibur is really cool, but it's an interesting choice to
the
launch.
One with Link, right?
One with Link.
Yep.
That was the GameCube version. The big one I have a problem with is Wind Waker. Like, guys, you're leaving money on the table. You made a Wind Waker HD for the Wii U. It's trapped on that console that nobody bought.
Yep.
And it was an incredible port of that game with like quality of life features and higher resolution, and nope, they're giving us the GameCube version.
Is that before Twilight Princess now? Because we haven't gotten on their GameCube.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So it's
Twilight
interesting
Princess,
to me.
right.
I'm still waiting for like a true full sequel to Wind Waker because they have.
Exactly.
There's a sequel on. It was like a 3DS.
Well,
or
they did the
something.
DS games, the
DS
Phantom
one.
Hourglass.
Sure,
and
but like a full like Wind Waker
Exactly.
2, whatever it could be.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see that, but I get they're focused on their Zelda stuff that they have right now, which is very big, and they'll probably make another giant open world.
For sure,
Zelda,
for sure,
you know?
and that's promising. But that's cool. I like when that game's fine. The Wind Waker GameCube version, the HD version would have been preferred, but
Totally.
I get that they want to launch these GameCube games as a marketing device to a little extra push to get people to buy the console.
Yeah.
I forget what the third GameCube game was, but they did have like a highlight reel of all the games that are coming, and it's I think you're going to get everything that Backwards compatible, no surprise there. It's going to play Switch games.
But at what cost? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I think they only said that there was like maybe 1 or 2 Switch games that won't be compatible, and it was like the Labo games, which makes sense.
So could I play Tears of the Kingdom without the up-res for free?
I think the answer is yes.
Okay.
Because it's backwards compatible, and the physical Switch cart slot is the same.
Okay.
So you should be able to just take your old Switch games, pop them right in the Switch 2.
Okay.
They'll run, and you might even get better performance.
I was wondering if it was just like they would lock you out and you couldn't play them.
No, I don't think that's the case.
I was like, oh man, I was like, that's such a bold move.
Yeah, I think the worst case, they'll prompt you to buy that $10 upgrade, but then you could just decline. Yeah. Just play your game.
Exactly. Yeah, please. Just allow me to do it.
I just got 2 other things real quick, and we'll get to your Monster Hunter.
Yeah, no, it's great.
The Duskbloods.
Dude, I can't even, man. I can't with Duskbloods.
I can't think of a game in recent memory that I was so excited when they showed the trailer. Because let's face it, it's a Bloodborne spinoff.
Yeah.
Without saying it.
Yeah.
And then my hopes were literally punched, shot, kicked, and karate chopped into the curb when they announced it was a multiplayer game. If you're willing to play that with me, I'm excited. If no, then I'm not excited because, man, they have Night Rain coming out, which is Elden Ring spin-off. It's a PvPvE.
And that's what this is too.
And that's what this is too.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the community's pretty pissed.
Yep.
As
they should be.
They show this trailer. It looks like a Bloodborne 2. It's not. No. It's a multiplayer game directed by Miyazaki, who did the Dark Souls games. And it's cool. They locked in a From Software exclusive. That's a big deal. It's just 100% not for me.
Yes.
I'm disappointed. So
again, I hate to be too critical here, but when I think of 2 companies or organizations that don't always have the greatest track record with performance, I think if we could make a marriage of 2 things and then also make it a multiplayer game, I don't know how much more we could do than this, because there's a great chance that Nintendo's online infrastructure has gotten better over the years, and the performance of FromSoft games have gotten better over the years. But there's this version in my brain where this is a runs at 25 frames per second, is disconnecting. You're in the middle of these really intense fights.
Right.
And it's just
they better nail it, right?
They have to. They have to.
And I would assume they will. But your fears are completely the same as mine.
Yeah.
I thought the footage looked rough.
Yeah.
The art style looked amazing. They're best in class with art and gothic architecture, and the games look amazing.
Yeah.
Elden Ring looks amazing. It's a bummer. I'll give it the benefit. They're one of my favorite developers, and it's just disappointing that. I would rather have this on PS5. And
totally, and maybe it will. I don't know if it's going to be it's exclusive or timed or whatever.
My understanding, this is a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive.
Okay.
Well, it's a partnership where Nintendo co-funded the game.
Oh, well.
And so historically, these do not escape the platform. But
Okay. Yeah.
All right. One more quick thing.
Yeah.
Third-party ports, Elden Ring, Cyberpunk. We're going to get, it's typical.
Yeah.
We're getting those old games.
Of course.
Will they run good? Will they run bad? I don't know. And it's, I will not buy the Nintendo Switch 2 to play Cyberpunk 2077.
No, you shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. That's enough out of me. It looks cool. I'm okay with the price.
Yeah.
It's 2025. Everything's gone up, What do you think? Where are you at?
Yeah, Switch 2, I don't know. For me, I've always been kind of late to the game on the Nintendo stuff just because I usually am drawn in by the software. That's usually what gets me. And usually at launch, they'll have a few games, but there's rarely something that gets me where I'm willing to pay hundreds of dollars to play this one thing.
Yeah.
That's for me, though.
Yeah.
And because Mario Kart World is also an online thing, now we're talking about online subscriptions.
Yep.
We're talking about all that. They have a voice chat feature now, which will be insane.
There's a new C button, which literally just stands for chat.
Yep, the chat button, which is crazy. And someone was pointing this out. They're like, yeah, that's a button on the controller that you have to pay for in a way because you don't just have it. You need to buy the online subscription, right? Yep. Which is, I think, $10 a month or something. I could be wrong on that.
Something like that, yeah. I think, might not. I don't know.
Something
I forget what I pay.
But there's a
different
annual
tiers.
subscription service. But for me, I'll probably wait and just see how it all goes. And again, it might be hard because of, like you said, the world right now and historically a lot of these things. I remember being escorted out of a Best Buy with the Wii because they had one in the back and people were all looking at me because I was like, they didn't have many of them.
That happened to me with the 360 at Circuit City.
Dude.
I had a staff member walk me to my car.
Oh, what a memory, dude. The 360 was such a good console.
Circuit City.
Circuit City, too. I love that story. Anyway, so I'll probably wait.
Okay.
But it sounds like you
I
don't know.
think I might wait too.
Yeah, okay.
You know, unless I fall into an extra $500 that I wasn't, you know what I mean? It's a lot of money, and Donkey Kong Bonanza looks really cool, but I don't think it's the true 10 out of 10 banger that's like, okay, I have to get this day one.
Yeah.
Mario Kart looks really cool, but again, same thing.
I imagine that because of our great overlords here at QCTV, they'll just provide us with a Switch 2, each of us, because we have to have it. We'll just do the next Game Trucks. It's just us playing for an hour.
I'll just attach the receipt to my time card. $570.
And we're like, we buy like the up-res versions of the other game. We gotta check it out. We gotta make sure that Tears of the Kingdom is running at 60. We are Digital Foundry now.
We need to do our job.
No, we have to do our job. But Switch 2, big deal. Couple of months away. I'm curious to see how it all plays out because it's like I wonder how many people are going to be jumping in day one.
Yep. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah, next time we talk, you'll be like, I bought one and I love it.
Don't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised. No. Well, okay. I just have a few minutes here to I want to talk a little bit about Monster Hunter Wilds.
Oh yeah. You've been waiting a long time for this.
Waiting for so long, Cory. So we're talking Ghost of Tsushima earlier. If Ghost of Tsushima isn't my favorite game of last gen, it's Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter World actually might be it, because Monster Hunter World is one of my favorite games of all time. It grabbed me in such a way. It came out in 2018. Thank you. That's what it is. And that was a stacked year. There was God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2, Spider-Man. Monster Hunter World, for me, though, blew them all out of the water. I loved that game. And I remember, Cory, maybe I've even talked about it here, I remember seeing that Monster Hunter World announcement at a Sony press conference for E3. And I was like, this game looks so stupid. There's a T-Rex fighting a dragon, and you're like a little person in between. I'm like, boo, stupid, blah. And then I played it, and I was like, this game is incredible. And of course, they've been making these games for like 15 to like almost 20 years or whatever. And this is just the next incarnation of that franchise, right? This is just like the next big one, because they'll do like the main line, and then they'll do the offshoot, which is usually on Nintendo, which was Rise, which was still pretty fun. I played a little bit of that. But Monster Hunter Wilds is World if it was easier to play, and like it's way more focused and streamlined. So maybe it's not as engrossing as World was for me, but it's way simpler. Like anybody, even if you've never played Monster Hunter before, you'll probably fight most of these monsters and beat them in the base campaign in your first try. Which is kind of crazy.
That sounds kind of cool, though.
It is, and I think the idea was like the barrier for entry was a bit steeper in World, and they didn't realize how big it was going to be, and then a lot of people jumped in. It was like Capcom's best-selling game of all time. And then people hit a certain wall, which was, I still think, is Anjanath, which is this big like T-Rex that breathes fire. It was really hard to beat, even with a group, which they do scale up for like if they have more people with you. But that was like people would hit that and they're like, I'm done with this stupid game. And there was so much more game after that. This one's like, hey, no, it's easy now. You can play it. It's not too bad. And the hard stuff starts in like the kind of the post-campaign, the high-rank missions, which is like a continuation of the campaign. And a lot of Monster Hunter people and some of my buddies I've talked to, like one in particular, shout out to Caden, he was like, this is where like it feels more like Monster Hunter World. This is where like the challenge comes in. So I was like, okay, so that's what I've been getting into more recently. The game's still amazing. A lot of quality of life improvements, including like new additions to the weapons and how they function, which is great because if you've logged hundreds of hours like I have and you know these weapons, certain ones inside and out, having new abilities with them is such a treat. It's so much fun. The environments look good. They're maybe not, again, as compelling as World was to me because they're all interconnected. But there's a lot of like long hallways almost, as it were, that like connect to the other zones, which are probably like loading areas that you're just running through. So they don't have that same feeling of like, oh, I'm trying to move one monster out of its natural habitat to a place that's more advantageous for me. At least not yet that I've noticed. But yeah, it's straightforward. It's fun. It's just some of the best combat in any video game ever. It's so addictive, and it's so much more fun with friends. Like that's the thing. And I haven't gotten to play as much with my friends, but I've really enjoyed it. The new monsters they put in here, they've tried to branch out a little bit. There's a couple like spider-looking ones.
Oh, interesting.
There's a couple like squid octopi-looking or octopus-looking ones.
Right.
So they're not all just kind of dragons. And, whatever else, but they still have those too. They have a few of the staples. There's a lot of new ones, but again, like Super Smash Brothers, my hope is that over time they'll populate it with the ones they've had from other games.
Sure.
Because they can kind of bring them in, port them in, maybe add a few new abilities or whatever, but they have them, more or less. And the thing with Monster Hunter World is that they supported it so much, Corey. They supported that game so much after you bought in for free. They'd be like, oh, here's a new monster. For free. Here's new stuff for free. All these patches, all these updates, all the time. And it was amazing. And then, excuse me, what they ended up doing is when the expansion came out for Iceborne, I was there day one. And I'm never there day one for expansions. I was like, we'll see about that. But because they were so respectful of their clients, the consumers, it was like, yes, I'm happy to do it. And Iceborne was like a whole other game. For like less, it was like $40 or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, I remember you talking about it on the show.
It was insane. There was so much to that game. So I feel like I've almost been indoctrinated. I'm just like, oh, there's another big Monster Hunter game coming out. I will be there. Like as quickly as I can be. Because the quality is there, the love is there, the passion is there.
Sure.
And again, it's maybe not as compelling as World was, and that was like my first foray into it. It's like the Pokemon games. Like Pokemon Blue and Red will be my favorite, maybe for all time. Even though like Gold and Silver are like more.
Sure.
There's something about it.
That's how I feel about like Zelda Ocarina of Time. It's hardly playable now. and Breath of the Wild is a vastly superior game. However, I like that game better.
Of course. So I really do recommend it. I think it's a really fun game and it's really enjoyable.
Cool.
And it's something that like, even if you're not into Monster Hunter, you've never tried it before, I would say give it a shot. Because it is really, really enjoyable. And the barrier for entry has never been lower. I think it's way easier than I think it ever has been. So
cool.
If
That's
you want
awesome.
to give it a shot, you let me know.
I haven't played one since I think the Wii.
Really?
And I was doing voice chat on the Wii somehow. I don't even remember how I was doing that.
You didn't do World, I forget.
I never did. No, I never got into World. I know you love that game.
Love it to death.
Just for whatever reason, I never got the Monster Hunter bug.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll check out Wilds. That's really appealing to hear that they've streamlined things and made it a little easier.
Way easier, way faster. Everything's faster. And your mount, they call secrets. They're like a Velociraptor Archaeopteryx thing. And they had the Palamutes in Rise, which were like huskies.
Oh, sure.
Basically, they function the same way. You just hop on their back, and then it'll like kind of hunt down the monster for you while you sharpen up or like heal yourself. So you're on the back of these things, and versus like just running through the forest.
Right.
So again, you're not having to spend as much time just
for
being
sure.
Like, okay, there it goes. Like, So. Yeah,
cool.
That's great. It's
awesome.
It's a great game. It's an amazing game.
It's been a hell of a year for you so far.
I know. It's like it's only April. So I'm hoping that it's a good rest of the year too.
Right.
But there's so much more to get to.
I haven't even touched Avowed yet either.
Dude, yes, I downloaded it.
Oh, cool.
I was like, I gotta try that.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about that. I'm like, okay, I'm curious to try it. Okay, next time for sure.
Yeah.
Well,
did you try it or?
I haven't tried it yet.
No,
I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to.
Okay.
Wilds and AC are like. And also, I got back into Risk of Rain 2.
Oh, cool.
Oh man, that game
I never played those either.
It's so good. Risk of Rain 2 is so addicting. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. It's like a Zen game. It's also really intense.
Yeah, because the first one was like a 2D.
Yep.
And they went 3D on this one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like Darkest Dungeon. They're like, all right, here's our thing, and then our sequel's like, it's a different thing.
Even bigger. I know people that are really into Risk of Rain are really into it.
Yes. I didn't realize, but I looked at it. I'm like, ooh, they are really into
people
this game.
love that game.
Really into this game.
Yeah.
Before we are completely done here, I do want to honor that we had a question. And this one comes in from Lindsay.
Oh, okay.
She asks, why won't they bring back GoldenEye? And we were talking about this a little bit before the show. They've brought it back a couple of times.
Yeah.
When do you think they'll bring it back again is the real question.
Probably never or a long time. So IO Interactive is doing a new James Bond game.
Yes.
Those are the makers of Hitman.
Yes. Which is cool. I think it's
cool.
a good call.
That was actually part of the Switch 2 presentation.
Oh, yes.
It's coming to Switch 2, but they just put those old games out on like Nintendo Online and Xbox.
Yeah.
Arcade. I don't even know if they call it arcade anymore, but and then I think they did a remake for like the Wii. It's like the Gold Edition. So they have done things with GoldenEye.
Yes. I wonder if it's like they're tied up in Amazon. Like if Amazon has rights and stuff now, and they're like Amazon Game Studio
Jeff
or something.
Bezos.
Yeah, he's got them, dude. That's why. If you're Lindsay, if you're looking for it, that's why.
The bottom of his yacht is just full of copies of GoldenEye, and he's like, "I am keeping these." Yeah.
He's like, "Yep," and he's like, "It's odd job every time."
Right. He's just throwing them out into the water.
He's like, "Doesn't matter to me."
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, Cory, as always, it's a pleasure chatting with you about all this stuff. It was so good, and I hope you guys enjoyed it at home. I hope that we provided a little video game fun for your day. But again, as always, thanks to QCTV, thanks to Winter.
Yes, and Pat.
And Pat back there.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you, Cory.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Appreciate it, and thank you, dear viewers. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.